Shalom, family. This is Elder Jenkins with the King James Bible University. And I want to speak to you on the topic, occupy until I come. Family, we know that our days are numbered and we're not here to stay forever. We're here for an appointed time. And so whatever the appointed time that the Most High have given us, He's making sure that His word is coming to us, and it's up to us if we're going to receive His word or not. And not only receive His word, but obey His word and learn of Him and share this word with others. So we know it's going to come a time when no one will be able to work in the vineyard. We have to work now while it's day and while we're able to work and spread this word, because it's going to come a time when we won't be able to do these things again. So I don't plan on being before you very long, but once again, it's occupy until I come. So this is Elder Jenkins with the King James Bible University, and we're going to go ahead and get started with this teaching. It's my prayer that someone would be edified and gain some strength according to the word of God. So we're going to start at the book of Luke, chapter 19, and we'll start at the first verse. And it says, "And Yahushua entered and passed through Jericho. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, which was the chief among the publicans, and he was rich. And he sought to see Yahushua, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was little of stature. And he ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. And when Yahushua came to the place, he looked up and saw him and said unto him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must abide at thy house. And he made haste and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, saying that he was gone to be guest with a man that is a sinner." Now, family, we can look at this spiritually. We look at it spiritually. You can look at it right here in verse 3. He said, and he sought to see. We know the name Yahushua, the name Jesus, means salvation. So he sought to see salvation in who he was. He was seeking. And he said, and could not for the press, because he was little of stature. And he ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him. So in other words, spiritually, you can look at it as he went to learn from a different teacher, a different elder. He went to learn from a tree, someone that was teaching. He went to learn from this sycamore tree, for he was to pass that way. And when Yahushua, when salvation came to the place, he looked up and saw him and said unto him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down from that tree. See, you can put your name there where Zacchaeus' name is at if you're in these church buildings. You learning from these trees that's standing behind pulpits with a split-tongue doctrine. And Christ is saying to you today, like he said to Zacchaeus, make haste and come down. Come from out of those buildings. Come from out of those prison houses. For today I must abide at thy house. In other words, I have word to give to you, and the word is not in those buildings. See, we can learn from what Brother Zacchaeus did. Brother Zacchaeus in verse 6, it said, and he made haste and came down. He came up out of that prison house, learning from this sycamore tree, because this sycamore tree is not where the truth was at. Zacchaeus made haste and came down. What about you today? Are you willing to step out on your most holy faith and do as Zacchaeus did? Or you just here just to hear a word and go right back to your old ways? The word says Zacchaeus made haste and came down and received them joyfully. So in other words, when this word of truth, this word of salvation came to him, he said, I must abide at thy house. I'm going to feed you with knowledge and understanding to abide at your house in your temple. Zacchaeus made haste and came down. Not only he made haste and came down, but he received them joyfully. But we got a whole bunch of mumblers, grumblers, and complainers. Even some of you that may be even listening today always got to grumble and be a busybody and gossiping, and you just all worried about the wrong things. Got this crowd. He said, and when they saw it, they all murmured, saying that he was going to be guest with a man that is a sinner. You're too busy worrying about what somebody used to do, what they used to be, and not where they're at today. That word can come and change you. If the Most High say he'll throw your sins away in a sea of forgetfulness, why you worrying about what I used to do? Why you worrying about what so-and-so, brother so-and-so or sister so-and-so used to do? That's in their past. And this is what these mumblers and grumblers and complainers they was doing. Saying that he was going to be guest with a man that is a sinner. Let's hit Matthew chapter 11, verse 27 down to 30. Let's see what Christ has to say about it. He says, all things are delivered unto me of my Father. And no man knoweth the Son, meaning the servant, but the Father. Neither knoweth any man the Father, save the Son, meaning only the Son. And he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. So Christ is saying he can reveal this word to whomsoever he sees fit. He don't care about you talking about this man or this woman used to be a sinner and how he coming to your house, to dwell at your house and abide at your house when you're a sinner. He said, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. That's what's wrong with us Hebrews. We too busy, got our mouth on someone else. We judging someone else for their past. Christ told them to make haste and come down, because I must abide at thy house. Zacchaeus made haste and came down. He said, and he to whomsoever the Son, meaning the servant, will reveal him. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Yeah, he talking to you, you mumblers, grumblers, and complainers. The busybodies. Come on. He say, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew chapter 13 and verse 15. He says, for this people, these same mumblers, grumblers, and complainers, these same busybodies that was trying to talk noise about Zacchaeus, saying that he was a sinner, Christ saying, for these people's heart is wax gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and should understand with their heart and should be converted, and I shall heal them. The same way I'm going to heal Zacchaeus, if these that's talking about Zacchaeus get their self together, I can convert and heal them as well. All they got to do is make haste and come down. Come on up out of that prison house. Come on up out of that church building and be converted and be healed by the word of truth. This is what he's telling us, family. This is what he is telling us. Can be healed by the word of truth. Let's get some more information that Christ was saying. Luke chapter 1, we hit verse 68 to 73. He said, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, for he have visited and redeemed his people, and have raised up an horn, meaning a lineage of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham. This is what he promised to do. This is what he promised to do. This is even what he did for Zacchaeus. Let's get some more information. Sirach 44, verses 19 down to 23. He says, and Abraham was a great father of many people, and glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High, and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh. And when he was proved, he was found faithful. Therefore, he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth and exalt his seed, his offspring, as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the utmost part of the earth, of the land. With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham, his father's sake, the blessing of all men, and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing, and gave him an heritage, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them. Romans chapter 9. Verses 4 and 5. Who are Israelites, these 12 tribes who are Israelites, to whom pertained the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Yahweh and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Christ came, who is over all, Yahweh, blessed forever. Amen. Luke chapter 1, verse 74 and 75. He said that he would grant unto us, these Israelites, that we being delivered out of the hand of our enemies might serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. Luke chapter 19, verse 11 down to 27. And as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable. No, matter of fact, I got to finish verse 9. I'm sorry about that. I was supposed to hit verse 9 earlier. So it says, and Yahushua said unto him, this day is salvation. Come to this house. This is where salvation is coming. Matter of fact, let me go up a little bit more. I want to go up a little bit more. Verse 8. Let me go up to verse 8. So when Zacchaeus received him joyfully in verse 6, he said, and he made haste and came down and received him joyfully. So as Christ was sharing his word with him, he was sharing the knowledge of truth, teaching him in the way of Christ. He says he received him joyfully. Now let's come down to verse 8. It says, and Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have taken anything from any man by a false accusation, I restore him fourfold. So in other words, we see that his heart was compelled by the word. when he received that word joyfully, he knew it was some corrections that he had to make in his life, and he was sitting there trying to get it right. Because that word had pricked his heart, it purged him, it cleansed him. We are clean by the word. It saying, Yahushua said unto him, this day is salvation come to this house, for so much as he also is a son of Abraham. See, we just got through sharing over in Sirach and in Luke chapter 1 about the sons of Abraham. Zacchaeus is also a son of Abraham. It's our brother. But you had the gossip crowd, the busybodies, right here in verse 7, judging, saying, and when they saw it, they all murmured, saying that he was going to be guest with a man that is a sinner. You don't know what the Most High can do with someone who you call a sinner. If it's his will, whomsoever he will reveal it, he will plant a word in them. All they got to do is make haste and come down. That's why it's not good for us to write folks off. As long as there's breath in their body and they clothed in their right mind, they have an opportunity. But if they reject their opportunity and they blaspheme the Holy Ghost, then that's another story. Because there's no forgiveness when you blaspheme the Holy Ghost according to the word. He said in verse 10, for the Son of Man, the servant of man, is come to seek and save that which was lost. He said, for so much as he also is a son of Abraham. So this is who the Son of Man is coming to seek out and save. It's clear. He said, and as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable, because he was nigh to Jerusalem, and because they thought that the kingdom of Yahweh should immediately appear. He said, therefore, this is the parable he's speaking. A certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. But his citizens hated him and sent a message after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound have gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound have gained £5. And he said likewise to him, be thou also over 5 cities. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared thee, because thou art an austerer man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austerer man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required my own with usury? And he said unto them that stood by, take from him the pound, and give it to him that have 10 pounds. And they said unto him, Lord, he have 10 pounds. For I say unto you, that unto everyone which have shall be given, and for him that have not, even that he have shall be taken away from him. But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. Family, so we see that he was speaking a parable. This whole parable is giving us an understanding on when he gave these servants that of his. He gave them a commandment, these 10 servants. He delivered them 10 pounds, and he told them to occupy till I come. We know that this parable is speaking about the wisdom that he's given us. This is what this money is representing, wisdom and knowledge. And when he's given us wisdom and knowledge and understanding, we should be producing fruits. How this one, he gained 10 pounds. The other one he gained 5 pounds. So we should be increasing our learning. Every teaching that's taught at the King James Bible University, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, you always told in the beginning to have paper and pen to take notes. Each time you're taking notes, you're capturing portions of scripture, portions of knowledge to be studied and to be stored up in your house, in your memory bank, in your heart. This is what's going on. But look at the one. He didn't produce anything. He didn't create anything. He didn't increase anything. He said, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. See, the question is, family, is this you? All of the notes you taking, are you just keeping it to yourself? You just storing it up to yourself, or are you sharing this information to others? Are you producing the fruits of the Spirit? Are you operating with the fruits of the Spirit? Are you sharing this word out to your brothers and sisters, or are you just keeping it to yourself? You see someone is sick, maimed, blind, deaf, dead in the grave, valley of dry bones, and you got a word that can help give them life, and you choose not to share it with them. Is this you? He said, wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required mine own with usury? See, family, right here, when he's saying, and he said unto them that stood by, take from him the pound and give it to him that have 10 pounds. And they said unto him, Lord, he have 10 pounds. For I say unto you, that unto everyone which have shall be given. And from him that have not, even that he have shall be taken away from him. So in other words, just knowledge that he give you, if you don't use it according to his will and his glory, even what you have will be stripped away. You won't be able to retain it. You won't be able to process it. You'll just be having itchy ears and just a tingling, sounding brass cymbal when you speak, because you're not going to even know how to explain back what you're reading. And let's show a similitude here in scriptures, what this parable is referring to. Let's go to the book of Malachi. Let's show this similitude. This is a familiar passage of scripture, Malachi chapter 3, verse 7 through 10. He says, even from the days of your fathers, ye are gone away from mine ordinance. This is to that one that kept the pound and laid it up into a napkin, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, said the Spirit of God of hosts. But ye said, wherein shall we return? Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. All of these portions of scriptures, all of these notes you taking up week in and week out. Oh, you got a beautiful library. You got a beautiful office. You got beautiful notebooks full of notes on this subject, on this subject. You got a note on this elder. You got a note on that elder. You got a note on this teacher. You got a note on that teacher. But are you sharing this information with others? Are you just keeping it to yourself? This is the tithes, these portions of scripture, these portions of knowledge that he's given us. He said, ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. He said, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. You taking notes, you better have it on the inside of you. And not only that, you need to be sharing it with your brothers and sisters. He said, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat, there may be doctrine in mine house, in your temple. And prove me now herewith, said the Spirit of God of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. So in other words, with your 1 pound, I'm going to give you 10 pounds with your one portion of scripture meaning tithe. I'm going to increase your learning even the more. I'm going to pour you out a blessing that there should not be room enough to receive it. I'm going to increase your knowledge 10, 20, 30 fold. That's what he's saying. As you are bringing these portions into the storehouse, the elders every week always remind you to have pen and paper. The moderators remind you every week to have pen and paper and take good notes. You have this information. And then you have the sisters in the back. They do their own due diligence to take notes and put them up in SharePoint. So we are without excuse not to have these tithes and offerings, these portions of scriptures stored up in our storehouse. Has nothing to do with money. He told them to occupy until he come. So in other words, we need to be putting in some work, family. We need to be putting in work all the way up until Christ returns. As Elder Lynn say, we need to be taking up our armor, receiving our armor daily. We got to be about our Father's business. We got to put in this work. You got your own personal study time. You got your class study time. Then you got a time that comes where you have to share this information. Everyone should be putting in some work. He said, occupy until I come. Let's get some more information. Luke chapter 2, verses 40 down to 52. Let's see here what it says. He said, now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And when they had fulfilled the days as they returned, the child Yahushua tarried behind in Jerusalem. And Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they supposing him to have been in the company when a day's journey. And they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. And he said unto them, How is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my father's business? Yahushua said, I got to put in some work. I got to occupy until my appointed time. He understood the assignment. He said, I must be about my father's business. It's Christ speaking. He said, and they understood not the saying which he spake unto them. And he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject unto them. But his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. And Yahushua increased in wisdom and stature and in favor with Yahweh and man. So as he was being about his father's business, he increased in wisdom, stature, in favor. And I want to go back and just tie something else in right quick that I just saw when it's speaking about Zacchaeus. Because right here in verse 3, Luke 19:3, it says, and he sought to see Yahweh, or he sought to see salvation, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was little of stature. So he was little of wisdom. He didn't have much wisdom. But we see that he went to the sycamore tree. He went to this other elder to seek wisdom. He went in this prison house to seek wisdom. Went in this church building to seek wisdom. And Yahweh had to say to him, Christ speaking, said, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down. I just wanted to show this part right here as being of little stature, meaning he was lacking wisdom. That's what it's speaking of. As we clearly see right here in Luke 2 and verse 52, it says, and Yahweh shall increase in wisdom and stature and in favor with Yahweh and man. So let's keep going. John chapter 9, verse 4 and 5. He said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. So in other words, he keep telling us we have to occupy until he comes. That's what he's saying. We got to work this work. We got to put in work. We got to stay working. We got to be about our Father's business. Not too long ago, Elder did a whole series about these different churches over in Revelation. Started out with the church of Ephesus. He said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. Tonight cometh when no man, male or female, can work. Very important information. Occupy until I come. Matthew 5:14 through 16. He said, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick. And it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his Savior, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. So you got to put in this work, family. We have to put in this work. Ye are the light of the world, a city that is set on a hill that cannot be hid. So let your light So shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. This is what he's calling for us to do. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10 through 14. He said, for even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any man would not work, neither should he eat. If you're not putting in work, how you going to learn this word? You're not putting in no work. You're not bringing in your tithes and your offering in the storehouse, meaning what? The portions of scripture that you're taking notes and bringing it into the storehouse so there can be doctrine in his house, in your temple. If you don't work, you're not going to learn. You don't work, you don't eat. You got to put in this work. How he going to feed you with knowledge and understanding you not putting in no work? You just want to sit there and let all of the elders do all of the work and teach you, but you're not taking no notes, you're not retaining nothing, and you asking the same questions over and over and over again. You're not retaining the information that's being given. All of the time that it takes to put these teachings together and to prepare for studies. Take advantage of the situation and take notes so you can always have it as a guide to refer to, family. If any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies. You're not putting in no work. You're not receiving your omelet daily. You too busy gossiping, being a busybody. You too busy running your mouth. You're not putting in no work. He said, now them that are such we command and exhort by our Lord, Creator, salvation, the anointed one, that with quietness they work and eat their own bread, learn their own knowledge. But ye, brethren, be not weary in well-doing. So whether someone is putting in work or not, we got to keep putting out these teachings. Whether somebody is receiving it joyfully or not, like Zacchaeus, we got to keep putting in work, bringing these teachings out. Whether or not somebody is taking notes to have it as a guide to refer to at a later point in time, we cannot be weary in well-doing. He say, and if any man obey not our word by this epistle, note that man and have no company with him, that he may be ashamed. Philippians chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 12F and also verse 13. 12F says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. This is what we need to be doing as we putting in work. He said, if a man don't work, he don't eat. If he don't work, he don't learn. If he don't receive his omen daily, he's not going to learn. He said, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is Yahweh which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Isaiah chapter 43, verse 21 and 28. He says, this people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise, my confessions. They're going to testify about me. They're going to testify how I brought them up out of the house of confusion, also known as the land of Egypt. How I brought them out of prison houses, how I brought them out of the valley of dry bones and gave them my word. Just as Zacchaeus made haste and came down and received me joyfully. He said, but thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of thy burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifices. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor wearied thee with incense. Thou hast bought me no sweet cane with money, so you was not putting in no knowledge, no receiving your armor daily. You wasn't bringing in meat to the storehouse, the portions of scripture. He said, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices. This is referring right back to Malachi 3, 7 through 10. He said, but thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thine iniquities. Even I am he that blotted out thy transgressions for my own sake, and will not remember thy sins. Put me in remembrance. Let us plead together. Declare thou that thou mayest be justified. Thy first father have sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse, and Israel to the reproaches. Sirach, chapter 51, verses 23 down to 30. He says, draw near unto me, ye unlearned, and dwell in the house of learning. Wherefore are ye slow? And what say ye to these things, seeing your souls are very thirsty? Meaning what? You are in need of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You're thirsty. Your mouth is dry. You are dry because you don't have the knowledge of truth. You sipping on this sycamore tree doctrine. You sipping on the doctrine of the Leviathan that's speaking in the church buildings. He said, draw near to me, ye unlearned, and dwell in the house of learning. He said, I opened my mouth and said, buy her for yourselves without money. Put your neck under the yoke and let your soul receive instruction just as Zacchaeus did. This is what he's wanting us to do. She is hard at hand to find. Behold with your eyes how that I have but little labor and have gotten unto me much rest. Get learning with a great sum of money and get much gold by her. Let your soul rejoice in his mercy and be not ashamed of his praise. Work your work betimes, and in his time he will give you your reward. So in other words, all you got to do, family, is occupy until he comes. Work your work betimes, and in his time he will give you your reward. That's what he's telling us. Isaiah chapter 29, verse 15 through 24. He says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Spirit of God, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us? And who knoweth us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field? And the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest. And in that day shall the deaf hear the words of the book. And the eyes, meaning the understanding of the blind, shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The meek also shall increase their joy in the Spirit of God. And the poor, meaning the one that's lacking knowledge among men, shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed. And all that watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Therefore thus said the Spirit of God, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands, in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, my way, and sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear, meaning desire, the God of Israel. They also that erred in spirit shall come to understanding. All of those ones that was murmuring and grumbling and complaining, too busy being a busybody. Hey, that also erred in spirit shall come to understanding. And they that murmured shall learn doctrine. They're going to learn his doctrine. They're going to learn his truth. They're going to learn his way. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 33 and 34. And as they come in to learn this doctrine, he says, wherefore, my brethren, when ye come together to learn, tarry one for another. In other words, occupy until I come. Put in this work. He said, and if any man hunger, let him eat at home. Meaning what? Let him learn at home, that ye come not together unto condemnation like they do in the church building. You don't want to do that. You learn at home. He said, and the rest will I set in order when I come. Only thing you need to do is occupy until I come. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16 and 17. He says, know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahweh, and that the spirit of Yahweh dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy. For the temple of Yahweh is holy, which temple ye are. Luke chapter 22, verse 29 and 30. And I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father have appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink. You gonna learn all of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, teaching the 12 tribes of Israel. 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 6 through 23. He says, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. For Yahweh have not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Creator, salvation, the Anointed One, Christ, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we shall live together with him. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as ye do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Creator, and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their works' sake. And be at peace among yourselves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Rejoice evermore. Pray without ceasing. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of Yahweh, and the anointed one salvation concerning you. Quench not the spirit. Despise not prophesying. Prove all things. Hold fast that which is good. Abstain from all appearance of evil. And the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, Yahweh, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Creator, salvation, the anointed one, Yahweh Shai the Messiah. Second Esdras, chapter 2 and verse 13. He says, go and ye shall receive. Pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. Isaiah chapter 9. Verse 6 and 7 says, for unto us a child is born. Unto us a son, a servant is given. And the government shall be upon his shoulders. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Spirit of God of hosts will perform this. Luke chapter 19. And we'll come right back to this verse right here at the comma. Occupy till I come. So family, I hope and pray something was said in this teaching help you along your journey. We have to put in work. We cannot get slack and slothful and careless about our Father's business, because we do have a work to do. Do not get weary in well-doing. You be faithful in a few things, he will increase you. He will reward you greatly. So I'm going to say a shalom to everyone. You have a wonderful Sabbath day. Follow Christ. Let him lead and guide you. I'm going to say shalom to everyone until we meet again. Shalom.